Hi, everyone. It's Lisa Brown with Ink and Inspirations, and welcome to our premiere for Thursday, April the 3rd, 2025. Thank you all for tuning in. We are in April now, and so tonight or today, whenever you're watching this video, I wanted to share some easy Easter treat packaging. So we're going to get started on that in just a minute. But first, I wanted to remind you that Stampin' Up! Is coming up with a new catalog here very soon. And if you do not have a relationship with another Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you are looking for one, I'd be happy to serve you. So if you email me if you would like a catalog and give me your best phone number, I will give you a call and we'll chat just a little bit and I can get a catalog sent out to you. Okay, so here we are. It's April already. I can't believe it. Easter is in a few weeks. And I like to make little packaging to put little candies in or maybe little gifts. And these are two easy ones that I've done way in the past. And I wanted to remake them with some of the Storybook Moments characters and some of that storybook, let's see, what is the name of that designer paper? Hang on just a minute. I get the papers and the stamp set and the bundles names all jumbled up. And let's see, there it is, Lisa. Storybook Moments paper. And then the Storybook Friends. That's it. Storybook Friends stamp set. So anyway, we're going to be working with those today. And I hope you will enjoy this and you can use these ideas to make some fun little Easter treats or party favors or whatever you'd like to use them for. So let's get started. I'm going to switch and put you down on my desktop. Here we go. Okay, let me adjust my camera just a little bit. And first we're going to make this little triangle treat box, okay? Now this is pretty tiny. A little pair of earrings could fit in here, a couple of candies, just something small, really cute, and would be cute on your Easter table setting or in an Easter basket, okay? So let's get started. I've got my pieces cut here. The first one for the base, the triangle treat, this is cut 3 by 6, and then we are going to score it at 3.5 inches long ways, okay? And then we will make a tick mark at 1.5 inches in the middle on both sides. So I'm just going to do that really easily with my paper trimmer. Let's see, I've got kind of a mess here, and I thought I had cleaned my desk. Okay, so let's go ahead and score at 3 inches. That's going to put it in a halfway mark here. Okay. All right, and then we're going to score at 1.5 on each side. So I'm just lining that up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scoring tool and just put a little divot right there at the top. And then we'll flip it and do the same thing on this other side. Okay. So there we have that. Let's go ahead and fold so we can see that line easier. And then I'm just going to kind of bend that just a little bit so it's a little bit accented on that tiny, see that little tiny score line right there? Okay, because what we're going to do is we're going to line the tip of that in the track here and then use the 3-inch score line on the bottom of the track. So you kind of have to wiggle it around and make sure you've got both lined up. So here is my 3-inch score. Here is my 1/2 inch score. And then I'm just going to, not a cut, we're going to make just a score line. Okay, so we're going to do it on the same on the other side. Line up. And just so you know, don't press real hard with your scoring tool. I heard my paper crack just a little bit, and you don't want to cut it because the designer paper, you know, is thinner than our cardstock. And if you press too hard while you're scoring, you could cut through, which probably have a little cut mark there, but it's going to work. I've done that several times, just getting too energetic. Okay, I'm lining up the 1.5 inch and then the 3 inch here. And I'm going to score, right? Then let's flip it around and do the other side. Okay. I'm going to make a little dent there where I can see that top a little easier. Line up that 3-inch score. And let's go ahead and score there. And so what we're doing is making this triangle shape. Get the top in line and then the 3-inch score. And there you go. Okay. So now we have all of our score lines. I can move my trimmer out of the way. And then I am just going to bend and form the triangles. Okay. There we go. Let's do this side. See, I cut it just a little bit, but it's still going to go together and hold. So word to the wise, don't press too hard when you're scoring. Okay, so this is going to come up like this. And we are going to punch holes there. And then that will tie together the top, and that's going to put it through. Okay, so first of all, what you want to do, if you have this ready to go, you have your gift or your treats ready to go inside, you know, you can put them in now, but you can wait until you actually have your sides punched in together, and then you can always open up and put some treats on the inside by just pressing and making that opening just a little wider. Okay. So you'll see what I mean. We're going to go ahead and do some hole punching here. I'm using an old Crocodile, but you can use any hole punch. So I'm going to take this and let's see the overlap. You want to make sure if you've got using the front on one side, you're using the same side on the other side, okay, so that you've got it both going toward the back. So I'm going to open this up. You want this as closed as you can get it here to punch the hole. So let me hold it like this and slide this in. This is probably be easier with a regular hole punch, but this is what I have that I use all the time. So I'm just going to go with it. Here we're going to close this side, open this back up. And this keeps you from having to use adhesive on anything. Okay, so now we've got it ready to go. Now we can work on our little embellishment that's going to go on the front. Okay. All right. So now what I have is, let's see, I've already got a little bunny with some carrots cut out. This is from the Storybook Moments Designer Series paper. Now you can also use some of the little die cut images that come along with that paper. Here I have all my little pieces. Some of them would be kind of large, but let's see if this little lamb would work. Close that up a little bit. So you could do that. She would still work. She would extend some beyond the top, but that would work. And I think I have some squirrels. I've used quite a few of these. Just go here. Here's a little squirrel. You could use that. Okay. But I had so many of the little bunnies on the actual sheet of the designer series paper that I just cut it out. If you have the dies that go with this bundle, then you could also die cut them out. But I don't mind fussy cutting. So that's what I did on this one right here. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let me put that aside and show you how simple this is here. I need my little triangle. I don't know why I pushed it up. So I'm just going to glue that little baby on there. Okay. Let me get my liquid glue. You could use any type of adhesive. The Stampin' Seal would work. You could use little glue dots. Okay, I'm going to get that right here. And then I'll embellish it a little bit more after we're through. But you see how easy this is once you get your little triangle box made. So I have 10 inches of this wild wheat ribbon. Now, wild wheat is one of our in colors that will be leaving us soon. And I've just run out of this ribbon, which I absolutely love. It is so soft. And I've mentioned before that this is the color that I'm going to miss the most of these end colors that are going out. Okay, so I'm lining up those 2 holes, and I'm going to thread that through. Okay. Once you get this ribbon in, you could make these ahead of time and then just fill it later with your little treats or your gift. Okay. So I'm going to come through here. It's easier to go through one of the holes at a time. Trust me, I know. Tried all kinds of ways, and then pull this, and let's go through this outside flap here. Okay, so now this is what I was trying to explain earlier, is that you can get it this far done and even put some embellishments there, and then just open that up before you tie the bow and put your treat inside, and then you're ready to go. So you could do all of this ahead of time, even before you decide what treats you're going to put in the little triangle treat box. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close mine up for now because I want to show you how I'm finishing it off. So I'm going to tie just one single knot, just a knot like that for now. Okay. Then I have a 1 3/4 by 3/4 piece of the Wild Wheat cardstock, and that's to stamp, punch, and put some linen thread through. So I've got this piece, and how I determined the size of that is I'm using this Easter greeting stamp. Let me grab my stamp set here. The Easter greeting stamp. And so I measured that so I would know how big to cut this. And so let me get my Stampin' Pierce mat. Since we're stamping with photopolymer, we want a little cushion underneath there. And I just had that stamp, what I do with it right here. My Wild Wheat ink pad. And I'm going to stamp in the same color because I'm going to get a darker shade with the ink. And I like that look of continuity with the Wild Wheat designer paper that our triangle treat box is made from, and this little tag. See how cute that is? All right. Now, let me move this out of the way. And then I'm going to punch a little hole right here at the top corner, like that. And then I have a piece of our linen thread that has been around for quite some time and very versatile, very necessary to have for times like this. So I'm going to take it, double it. Okay, again, that was 7 inches, but you can just cut a piece. You know how long you need. You're going to get a loop here. Take the 2 ends, go through the loop, and then we're going to tie it onto that ribbon that we have on our triangle treat box. So I'm going to do this, and I like to do this before I tie the bow. It's easier, okay? And the recipient can untie the bow without the tag coming off. So I'm just going to do this and tie a knot. Okay, so when they go to open it, they would just untie the bow, pull this open, and then the tag remains on there. Okay, open this side. You can slide this through if you want. Okay, and open it up and get their treat out. Okay, so the ribbon really could come out of the little knot, and then you can open it like that. Okay, it's easier to show you than try to explain that. Okay, let me tie this again. So you see how it's going to be finished off. Easier to do before you do the tag tying on there. Flip that around, get you a little bow, and it's going to be ready to go. I see my little bunny ear is kind of flipping, so I'm going to even this bow out a bit, and then put a little glue right here to hopefully hold that down. Yeah. Then I took my brushed brass butterflies, and I'm going to just take a few and put them on here. Let's see, I think I'm gonna put this big one up here at the top. And then just, let's see, I want to be sure I have a dot on the back of it. Okay, and there is our cute little triangle treat box. You can see, have two different bunnies there that I used from the designer paper. You could also, if you don't have the paper, but you have the stamp set, you could stamp one of the bunnies and die cut it or fussy cut it out. It'd be super cute. Okay. All right. I've got one more little treat to show you. So let me move these out of the way. Get my die cuts out of the way. All right. So now we're going to work on a rendition of the sour cream container that I used to make them all the time, and I kind of forgot about them, but Stampin' Up! Had some samples in the catalog, in the mini catalog with this suite of products, and they made some, and they were so cute. I thought, I need to do that. Let me get all of my supplies out here that I'm going to need. And let's see. I have a 6x6 piece of the Perfectly Plaid Designer Series paper. And then I have this scrap of basic white to stamp and fussy cut. I have some scrap basic beige that I'm going to stamp and punch. And then I have a 3/4 inch strip of Calypso Coral that I'm going to use to stamp the Easter greetings set again. So let's get started, because this one's going to take me just a little bit to color. Let me get I'm going to go ahead and do my stamping first. So let's see. I need this bunny that has a cute bow. Use a Memento Black ink because I am going to be coloring with alcohol markers, our Stampin' Blends. And then I want the little bunny. Ink him up. And I'll stamp him right here. Okay, let me get this out of the way. Don't want to lose my little strips there. Let's get these Post-its for the other project out of the way. And I'm going to need Calypso Coral ink, so I'll get that out. And now we can color. So what I chose are basically some neutrals. I did gray granite for the little bunny and crumb cake for the larger bunny. And then I have light Calypso coral for his bow and light petal pink for the inside of their ears. So I'm going to go ahead and color that, because that sometimes I get too carried away and start coloring the crumb cake all over the ear instead of just on the little insides. Okay, then the bow on this bunny, this Calypso Coral marker has seen better days. I've had it a while. Okay, so now we've got that. And so I'm going to use the dark crumb cake to kind of do some of the accents, his eyes. Just kind of follow the artist's cue on this and outline. Nothing fancy. I'm going to leave that center white, and I'm going to leave his cottontail white. So this is just a quick coloring. You could also use watercolor pencils, or you could stamp in StazOn and use, watercolor it, or Stampin' Write markers. Okay, let me get this guy. Okay, so I'm just kind of outlining a little bit. I decided to leave the whiskers alone. I thought they stood out enough on their own. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so if I just don't forget and color that inside of his belly, we'll be good. So that's already started, but I just did the top there, so all is well. So just kind of filling in, super easy, nothing fancy. In his little head. Super easy colored. And if you wanted to, you could color him all crumb cake. It's up to you. Use whatever colors you'd like. Okay, so now let's go to this little guy, and he is going to be done in gray granite, which can be kind of dark, but I wanted them in different colors. So go around his little arm, leave the cottontail white. I think I'm going to leave his little belly white too. Again, best laid plans. Okay. He's looking good. Let's get light gray granite and fill in. He's cute, too cute, cute, cute. All right, he's good. All right, now we're going to quickly fussy cut this out. I think these are my paper snips for paper. Okay, so get kind of close here. Oops, almost cut his ear off. Okay, so sometimes when I'm doing the fussy cutting of a little character like this, I will leave a little bit of white, but I did not want to do that on this one. I'm cutting as close as I can without cutting the stamped image. Okay, and I'm moving my paper, and my scissors don't move so much. He's good. That was quick. And the smaller, the smaller they are, the longer they take to cut out. You'll find that? It's just because it's so intricate. Okay, so let's get around this bunny. Kind of go around his whiskers a little bit, kind of in and out, in and out. I'm going to cut this excess off because that gets in my way. I had thought I would have all this done, but it surprised me when I didn't have it done already cut and colored for you. It's okay. You can fast forward through this part if it's too slow. Okay. Coming around the ear. And then we've got these little whiskers again on this side. Don't cut them off. And again, if you have the dies, you could be die cutting this right now. I did not get the dies to this set. Just one of these bunnies. The dies for this have the bunnies that you can cut out, the stamped images, and some of the designer series paper images, but also have some really pretty intricate frames. Okay, done. Okay, let's get that out of the way. All right, so now let me not lose my little guys. I'll put them right there. That's a lot of white showing there, but it's going to be okay. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it. Okay, let me get my square. You want to turn it over to the side that you're not going to use on the outside. Okay, 6 by 6. You can really do these smaller. Just keep it a square. You're going to use tear and tape. Okay, and we are going to take it and go down the left-hand side, almost to the bottom. And then from here on the bottom. So you're making a big L, and I don't go all the way to the ends usually. I just made notes for myself on that because I found it was much easier to not do that. Okay, so the tape is on the wrong side. I'm going to tape this off first, the long side on the left, and I'm going to fold it over, match the top and the bottom, overlap it about a 1/2 inch. It doesn't have to be exact. Come on down and give it a good press. And then you're going to, let's see, we're going to do this. And we're going to take that tear and tape off the inside. Use something to help you lift up that protective paper. Pull it off. Okay. And then, you know, for a sour cream, like one side is flat and then we're going to close up here like this. So I'm going to take this and push this closed. I think. Let me see if I want to do this with that at the back, or how do I want to do this? I'm thinking, y'all. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Okay, I have like this over here, basically on the left side. It doesn't matter. You could leave it just like this if you wanted to, but for sour cream, you're going to do it like that. Isn't that cute? So cute. All right, I love that shape. All right, so of course you would stuff your goodies in there, and this will hold quite a few treats, okay? So let's move some of our stuff out of the way, and we're going to show you how to finish it off. This will be, I'm going to go ahead and close it up because I can open it to fill it. I pinch the top, punch in the middle, and then I tie it with linen thread. If you have ribbon that matches with your paper, because you could do it with any paper that you have, right? I'm going to tie this off in a bow. And then you could make these, tie them up, and then untie them to load them up. Okay, let's see. Let's do that. All right. So now you can decide which side you want to do the decorating on. So since my seam is right here, I'm going to do this side. And I'm going to take this scrap piece of basic beige first. And I'm going to punch it out with the modern oval punch. I'm going to punch a piece out. This is going to be the backdrop for the punched, the cut, stamped and cut bunnies. Crumb cake ink, a scrap piece of paper underneath to protect your surface. I have this brick stone wall stamp here, and I'm going to take it and ink it up in crumb cake, stamp off, and then we're making a background here. Just a very faint background. Just lining up. If it overlaps a bit, doesn't matter. It just adds some interest, okay, behind your bunnies. Close that up. Now we're going to get our bunnies, and we're just going to glue those on. And I kind of overlapped the little bunny over the big bunny, so super cute. Where's my glue? Here it is. So these little treats are good for any time of year. I'm decorating mine for Easter, but you could also do this for any kind of themed party you're having or during the holidays. I mean, you can use it. They're easy to do, and it's a great way to use all that designer paper that you have. that beautiful designer paper that we have. Okay, these guys are going to go right here. Look how cute they are. So cute. Okay, remember I started with 6x6 for your sour cream. You could do 4x4. It would be a lot smaller, but you could do them that small. Okay, I'm holding this a bit, and I'm going to put the Easter greetings down here. I'm going to let that dry. You're going to, on this, remember you put a strip of tear and tape down the left side and then along the bottom, and you adhere the long side first, and then you squeeze it together and pull off that bottom. Okay, Easter greetings. I'm stamping it in Calypso Coral on Calypso Coral. Okay. I'm going to try something that's going to make that show a little better. On the other one, I did crumb cake, but this time I'm going to try Cajun Craze and see what that looks like, because that's Cajun Craze in the designer paper too. Cajun Craze and Calypso Coral. So let's see which one we like better. Yeah, I like it. Okay, move that out of the way. We're going to get our paper snips and cut this baby out. I'm just cutting straight cut close to the sentiment, okay? And then this is going to be down here. I almost put that too low. So come up a little bit with this to have room if you're using the Easter greetings. It still works, but let's get this out of the way. Okay. Then, just to add a little bit of pizzazz, we are going to use some of these antique pearls. And I'm just using these little ones. Oops. And I'm going to put one on each side. I ended up putting there's my seam. I did it on the wrong side, but that's okay. I couldn't even tell until I looked up close. Okay. All right. Let me kind of clear the desk a bit so you can see without all of the stuff. Here are the little sour cream containers. You can pinch that at the top. Super cute. And then we have our little triangle treat. You know, I have a hard time deciding which one I like the best. I really love these little triangles, but you can't fit much in them. So that's what I lean toward the little sour cream containers, but super cute for Easter or any time of the year that you need a little favor or a little gift packaging idea. So I hope you enjoyed that and you will give it a try. That's with the Storybook Friends stamp set and the Storybook Moments designer series paper. I have my pack here that I've cut up. You see all the little bunnies that you have that you can cut out? So fun, so fun. Okay, let me see if I can get back on here. Okay, so I hope you give those a try. If you do, let me know. Send me a picture or post it on, if you're not on our Ink and Inspiration Stampers group, I'd love for you to be there. I'll put the link in the description so you can go over there and join. So have fun creating for spring and for Easter, and I will see you again soon. This is Lisa Brown with Ink and Inspirations, inspiring you to create, share, and make a difference. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.